win for Oscar. But hey, we all have to start somewhere. Experience my genius. Become a chess master, one lesson at a time. New. I'll show you the basic moves. Giddy up. Already a king of the board? I'll teach you advanced tactics. Fork, baby, fork. I've got thousands of puzzles. Ready for a real match? Don't worry, I'll go easy on you. Whoopsie. I won. You're so smart and talented, Oscar. What will you think of next? Oh, you know me. I've got some big, big plans. Scintillating new animations. Track your ELO progress. Undo those pesky stalemates and finish the match with a proper boom. Oh, and there's one more thing. Soon you'll be able to play against other learners. Go for the win. Maybe I've taught him too well? Download Duolingo for free in the App Store. Side effects include learning lots of chess and having lots of fun, and some digital mustache included. Another win for Oscar. But hey, we all have to start somewhere. Experience my genius. Become a chess master, one lesson at a time. New to the game? I'll show you the basic moves. Giddy up. Already a king of the board? I'll teach you advanced tactics. Fork, baby, fork. I've got thousands of puzzles. Ready for a real match? Don't worry, I'll go easy on you. Whoopsie. I won. You're so smart and talented, Oscar. What will you think of next? Oh, you know me. I've got some big, big plans. Scintillating new animations. Track your ELO progress. Undo those pesky stalemates and finish the match with a proper boom. Oh, and there's one more thing. Soon you'll be able to play against other learners. Go for the win. Maybe I've taught him too well? Download Duolingo for free in the App Store. Side effects include learning lots of chess and having lots of fun, and some digital mustache included. Another win for Oscar. But hey, we all have to start somewhere. Experience my genius. Become a chess master, one lesson at a time. New to the game? I'll show you the basic moves. Giddy up. Already a king of the board? I'll teach you advanced tactics. Fork, baby, fork. I've got thousands of puzzles. Ready for a real match? Don't worry, I'll go easy on you. Whoopsie. I won. You're so smart and talented, Oscar. What will you think of next? Oh, you know me. I've got some big, big plans. Scintillating new animations. Track your ELO progress. Undo those pesky stalemates and finish the match with a proper boom. Oh, and there's one more thing. Soon you'll be able to play against other learners. Go for the win. Maybe I've taught him too well? Download Duolingo for free in the App Store. Side effects include learning lots of chess and having lots of fun. Handsome digital mustache included.
Live streaming on YouTube is a great way to connect with your audience in real time. Whether you're streaming an event, teaching a class, playing video games, performing with fans, or hosting a Q&A, YouTube has all of the tools that will help you manage your stream and engage with your community in real time with live chat. There are 3 ways you can live stream on YouTube: with a mobile device, a webcam, or with an encoder. Webcam and mobile are great options for beginners and allow you to go live quickly without much setup, while encoder streaming is ideal for more advanced and customized live streams. Here's a quick overview of each one. Mobile streaming. You can stream from the YouTube app with a mobile device. To live stream on mobile, you'll need at least 1,000 subscribers. 3 ways you can live streaming on YouTube is a great way to connect with your audience in real time. Whether you're streaming an event, teaching a class, playing video games, performing for your fans, or hosting a Q&A, YouTube has all of the tools that will help you manage your stream and engage with your community in real time with live chat. There are 3 ways you can live stream on YouTube: with a mobile device, a webcam, or with an encoder. Webcam and mobile are great options for beginners and allow you to go live quickly without much setup, while encoder streaming is ideal for more advanced and customized live streams. Here's a quick overview of each one. Mobile streaming. You can stream from the YouTube app with a mobile device. To live stream on mobile, you'll need at least 1,000 subscribers and a phone or tablet with a camera. This is a great option if you're looking to be flexible with where you stream and capture moments or events on the go. Webcam streaming. Anyone with a YouTube channel can easily live stream using webcam and your computer. Streaming this way doesn't require extra software, and since most computers have built-in cameras, this option requires no extra equipment. Webcam streaming is great for hosting live Q&As with your fans or just hanging out with them. Encoder streaming. Encoders allow you to capture content, including your desktop, camera, microphone, and more, and send it out to YouTube Live to be streamed to your audience. This type of stream is commonly used for gaming, sporting events, concerts, or conferences. So this is a good option option if you want to live stream gameplay, overlays, or use special hardware like preamps, mics, and cameras. Hopefully this overview helps you choose the best option for yourself depending on the type of content you want to stream. With any of these options, make sure to plan ahead. Live streaming on YouTube is a great way to connect with your audience in real time. Whether you're streaming an event, teaching a class, playing video games, performing for your fans, or hosting a Q&A, YouTube has all of the tools that will help you manage your stream and engage with your community in real time with live chat. There are 3 ways you can live stream on YouTube: with a mobile device, a webcam, or with an encoder. Webcam and mobile are great options for beginners that allow you to go live quickly without much setup, while encoder streaming is ideal for more advanced and customized live streams. Here's a quick overview of each one. Mobile streaming. You can stream from the YouTube app with a mobile device. To live stream on mobile, you'll need at least 1,000 subscribers and a phone or tablet with a camera. This is a great option if you're looking to be flexible with where you stream and capture moments or events on the go. Webcam streaming. Anyone with a YouTube channel can easily live stream using webcam and your computer. Streaming this way doesn't require extra software, and since most computers have built-in cameras, this option requires no extra equipment. Webcam streaming is great for hosting live Q&As with your fans or just hanging out with them. Encoder streaming. Encoders allow you to capture content, including your desktop, camera, microphone, and more, and send it out to YouTube Live to be streamed to your audience. This type of stream is commonly used for gaming, sporting events, concerts, or conferences. So this is a good option if you want to live stream gameplay, overlays, or use special hardware like preamps, mics, and cameras. Hopefully this overview helps you choose the best option for yourself depending on the type of content you want to stream. With any of these options, make sure to plan ahead and test out your sound and visuals beforehand with an unlisted or private stream. This will also help you feel more comfortable with the look and sound of your stream. Once you're ready, be sure to let your audience know when you plan on going live. And of course, keep in mind that all of the content you stream must adhere to YouTube's community guidelines and terms of service. Now, if it's your very first time streaming, there are some things you'll need to do before you can start. First is you'll need to verify your channel. Before you can stream, make sure you verify at youtube.com/verify if you haven't already. Note that this verification is different than the verification badges you might see on some channels across YouTube, and it just requires a simple telephone number verification. Then you'll need to enable your channel for live streaming. To do this, go to youtube.com while signed in. In the top right corner, click the create icon and then click go live. And if it is your first time going live, you'll see a prompt saying that YouTube is verifying your account for live streaming access. This process can take up to 24 hours, so once again, make sure you're planning ahead. And once the 24 hours have passed, you'll become enabled to start live streaming. Once you're all set up, you can choose how you want to go live on YouTube. For deep dive information on the 3 different streaming options and more videos on how to create and manage live streams, watch this playlist. And check out the Help Center articles linked in the description down below. Thanks for watching. A mobile device, a webcam, or with an encoder. Webcam and mobile are great options for beginners that allow you to go live quickly without much setup, while encoder streaming is ideal for more advanced and customized live streams. Here's a quick overview of each one. Mobile streaming. You can stream from the YouTube app with a mobile device. To live stream on mobile, you'll need at least 1,000 subscribers and a phone or tablet with a camera. This is a great option if you're looking to be flexible with where you stream and capture moments or events on the go. Webcam streaming. Anyone with a YouTube channel can easily live stream using webcam and your computer. Streaming this way doesn't require extra software, and since most computers have built-in cameras, this option requires no no extra equipment. Webcam streaming is great for hosting live Q&As with your fans or just hanging out with them. Encoder streaming. Encoders allow you to capture content, including your desktop, camera, microphone, and more, and send it out to YouTube Live to be streamed to your audience. This type of stream is commonly used for gaming, sporting events, concerts, or conferences. So this is a good option if you want to live stream gameplay, overlays, or use special hardware like preamps, mics, and cameras. Hopefully this overview helps you choose the best option for yourself depending on the type of content you want to stream. With any of these options, make sure to plan ahead and test out your sound and visuals beforehand with an unlisted or private stream. This will also help you feel more comfortable with the look and sound of your stream. Once you're ready, be sure to let your audience know when you plan on going live. And of course, keep in mind that all of the content you stream must adhere to YouTube's community guidelines and terms of service. Now, if it's your very first time streaming, there are some things you'll need to do before you can start. First is you'll need to verify your channel. Before you can stream, make sure you verify at youtube.com/verify if you haven't already. Note that this verification is different than the verification badges you might see on some channels across YouTube, and it just requires a simple telephone number verification. Then you'll need to enable your channel for live streaming. To do this, go to youtube.com while signed in. In the top right corner, click the create icon and then click go live. And if it is your first time going live, you'll see a prompt saying that YouTube is verifying your account for live streaming access. This process can take up to 24 hours, so once again, make sure you're planning ahead. And once the 24 hours have passed, you'll become enabled to start live streaming. Once you're all set up, you can choose how you want to go live on YouTube. For deep dive information on the 3 different streaming options and more videos on how to create and manage live streams, watch this playlist. And check out the Help Center articles linked in the description down below. Thanks for watching.
डेस्कटॉप पर YouTube स्टूडियो में मौजूद वीडियो एडिटर से अपने वीडियो की शुरुआत में, बीच में या आखिर में काट-छांट करें। वीडियो में काट-छांट के लिए उसे फिर से अपलोड नहीं करना होगा। वीडियो के URL, व्यू और टिप्पणियों पर कोई असर नहीं होगा। वीडियो एडिटर इस्तेमाल करने के लिए YouTube स्टूडियो में कंटेंट पर जाएं। वह वीडियो चुनें जिसमें बदलाव करना है, फिर एडिटर पर जाएं। काट-छांट करें को चुनने पर एडिटर में नीले रंग का बॉक्स दिखेगा। वीडियो की शुरुआत या आखिर में काट-छांट करने के लिए नीले रंग के बॉक्स के किनारों को खींचें और छोड़ें। वीडियो का नीले रंग के बॉक्स के बाहर मौजूद हिस्सा हटा दिया जाएगा। झलक दिखाने वाले प्लेयर में देखें कि काट-छांट के बाद आपका वीडियो कैसा दिखेगा। अगर आपको वीडियो के बीच वाले सेक्शन में बदलाव करने हैं, तो नया कट चुनें। इससे एडिटर में लाल रंग का बॉक्स दिखने लगेगा। लाल रंग वाले इस बॉक्स के किनारों को तब तक खींचें और छोड़ें जब तक कि वह उस जगह को कवर न कर ले जिसे आपको हटाना है। लाल बॉक्स से बाहर का हिस्सा वीडियो में रहने दिया जाएगा। वीडियो में किसी खास समय वाले हिस्से में काट-छांट करने या उसे काटने के लिए बॉक्स में समय डालें। बदलाव करने के बाद सही के निशान पर क्लिक करके कट की पुष्टि करें। आपके वीडियो में कई कट हो सकते हैं। पहला कट सेव करने के बाद प्ले हेड को वहां खींचे और छोड़े जहां आपको दूसरा बदलाव करना है। इसके बाद फिर से नया कट चुनें। बदलाव देखने के लिए झलक देखें चुनें या झलक दिखाने वाले प्लेयर में प्ले बटन इस्तेमाल करें। अगर आपका इरादा बदलता है तो कट में बदलाव करने या मिटाने के लिए पहले जैसा करें, फिर से करें, पेंसिल या ट्रैश आइकॉन का इस्तेमाल करें। बदलाव रद्द करने के लिए किसी भी समय बदलाव खारिज करें पर क्लिक करें। वीडियो में बदलाव करने के बाद सेव करें पर क्लिक करें। अगर वीडियो लाइव होने के बाद बदलावों को लेकर कभी भी आपका इरादा बदलता है तो फिर से वीडियो एडिटर पर जाएं और 3 बिंदु वाले मेन्यू पर क्लिक करें। इसके बाद अपने ओरिजिनल वीडियो पर वापस जाने का विकल्प चुनें। ज्यादा जानने के लिए ब्यौरे में दिए गए लिंक देखें। देखने के लिए शुक्रिया।
The YouTube Studio mobile app lets you manage your YouTube channel on the go so you can stay connected and productive from anywhere. In this video, we'll show you how to use the Studio app to check out your latest stats, update video details, respond to comments, and more. This app is separate from the YouTube main app that's used to watch videos and is designed specifically for creators. To use the app, you can download it from Google Play on Android or in the App Store on iOS. Once you have the YouTube Studio mobile app installed, sign in. You'll first see your dashboard. Here, you'll get a quick overview of your subscriber count, some high-level analytics for your channel, and insights for your latest video performance. You'll also see your recent uploads, recent comments, and any known YouTube issues. The dashboard gives you a snapshot of the latest on your channel. From here, you can choose to deep dive into any of these sections by tapping the box or tapping View More. At the top of your dashboard, you'll also see the menu icon, notifications, and your account icon. The menu icon pulls up the other pages you can explore in YouTube Studio, like your videos, playlists, comments, and analytics. On the videos page, you'll find a list of all your videos and past live streams. You can filter by video visibility or search for a specific video or stream. You can also sort your list by most recent or most viewed. If you tap into one of your videos, you'll see a quick snapshot of the video's performance and comments. You can also share the video or tap the pencil icon to edit its thumbnail, title, description, visibility, and other settings. You'll see all of your playlists on the playlist page. Here, you can tap into a playlist to see what videos are in it, along with its visibility and number of playlist views. From here, you can share a playlist or watch it on YouTube. Tap the pencil icon to edit the playlist's title, description, visibility, and ordering, or to delete the playlist. The comments page lets you see recent comments on your videos. You can filter by comments that are published, held for review, or likely to be spam. With published comments, you can interact with them, reply, or tap the menu icon to remove or report the comment, or hide the user from your channel. If you sort by comments held for review or comments that are likely spam, you can approve, delete this comment, flag, or hide the user from your channel. The analytics page lets you deep dive into your channel and video data, like real-time views, watch time, impressions and CTR, traffic sources, and more. Tap into a card to view data for different date ranges. You'll see two other icons across all pages at the top of your YouTube Studio mobile app: notifications and your account icon. The notifications icon leads you to any alerts you might have for your channel or videos. Studio mobile notifications notify you when you see notable subscriber growth or get comments. When you tap the gear icon, you can choose to enable or disable notifications and customize your notification preferences to get only the notifications you want. You can also clear all your notifications by tapping here, or clear individual notifications by swiping. Finally, your account icon lets you switch accounts, manage your app settings, send feedback, get help, or go to the YouTube main app. On Android, you can also turn on dark mode here. For iOS, you'll need to turn on dark mode from your phone settings. Check out more videos about YouTube Studio here, and check out the Help Center articles linked below. Thanks for watching.
आप आईएएस आईपीएस बनने का सपना रखते हैं तो यूपीएससी की तैयारी करने का ये राइट टाइम है। जुड़ी अनअकैडमी के साथ, जहां पर टॉप
Welcome to Peak Digital's Growthcast. Today we're going to talk about how to launch a new website successfully without losing your ranking on Google and other search engines. Thank you for the production team for joining me. So what is our advice on launching a website that has previously ranked without taking results?
Well, I think it all starts with the planning in the beginning. Before you even start that new website, look at your existing website first and check the metrics. What do you rank for? How many visitors are you getting? Conversions? Just see how your current site is doing so you have like a benchmark to start with, and see what, if anything, on your site is currently doing well, because we don't want to sabotage that. So you can, one of the ways of doing that is go into Search Console and check your top pages. You can look at the top linked pages, so pages with the most number of backlinks. We don't want to lose those backlinks. And then also your top visited pages, so the ones that are getting the most traffic. And then make sure that you have those pages in your new sitemap. And if you are going to change the URL at all, make sure you have a 301 redirect so you don't lose that traffic or those backlinks for the new page. Another thing to keep in mind, especially if you are importing any information from your old site into your new one, is to, when you export your pages and posts, make sure you're getting the existing title tags and meta descriptions. Especially if you have a larger site, that can be a lot of work to write new titles and metas for every single page. So if you bring over what the site already has and you've checked your top performing pages, you probably don't want to change the title or meta description on a top performing page, and you can go back and improve all the other ones. So those are just some things that we like to do before we even start the new sitemap and architecture planning. So Garrett, once we've built the site, what are some things that we look at?
Yeah, so I mean, once the site's sort of built and kind of nearing to, for your new launch, we like to look at, page speed performance. So, that can result in a bunch of different things. So we like to first start off by running either a couple different reports, a Lighthouse report, GT metric, Pingdom, or Page Speed Insights by Google. Those are all great ones to do a page speed report on. And most of them overlap. Some of them highlight different things than others, but ultimately, we're looking for making sure images are not larger than 100K. The higher the picture, the longer it takes for the site to load initially. So with that being said, we also like to make sure that caching policies are in place so that as pages are visited from your users, they're being cached so that the next time they go to visit, they don't have to reload the page.
So just use best practices when setting up the site to begin with.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us. We're going to get started here in just a couple minutes. We've got a few folks still logging in, but we're going to kick it off here. Let me know if y'all can hear me okay, or if there are any problems. You want to put something in the chat or let me know if... Can you guys hear me okay? Okay.
We can, yeah.
We can hear you.
Okay, let's get started.
Hey everyone, my name is Kelly Horton. I'm on the marketing team here at ShipHawk. I'm joined with two of our presenters today that I'll introduce here in just a few minutes. Before we get started, I do want to touch on a few housekeeping items. We will send a recording to the webinar after we wrap today. Usually you'll see that in your inbox within about 24 hours. And please chat with us. We want this to be interactive. If you have questions, feel free to use that Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. And I'll try to get to those as they come in or save a few minutes at the end if we don't get to them all today. And please tell us what you think. A short survey will pop up on your screen after the call today. Feel free to take a few seconds, fill that out, share any feedback with us so we can continue to deliver better content for you all. I am joined with Jeff Hamilton, our partner and consultant from LID, as well as Twyla Morales, our amazing implementation project manager here at ShipHawk. These two work together on a number of projects, as well as in previous life have done a number of these WMS project implementations. So they're really going to be your experts here today. So I want to get started here, and just kind of before we jump in, I wanted to point out something. I know this webinar is our 5 steps to a WMS implementation success, but I feel like it should really be our 5 phases or 5 key areas. And these are kind of the 5 phases we're going to talk about today. But Jeff, during our conversation prepping for this, I think you made a good point. These really aren't like siloed steps and how one does really kind of influence the other. Maybe you can just kind of shed some light on that to let folks know kind of what to expect as we're getting into this conversation.
Yeah, thanks, Twyla. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining. When we were talking about the 5 phases or the 5 steps in a implementation, one of the things that we wanted to highlight was, just because the go live is the last step, that doesn't mean that we're doing 90% of the work at the end of the project. Each step is there, sequenced in the right order. So discovery, configuration, site prep, user acceptance, and go live. And that's the right order, but they do influence each other, and doing one really well, for example, doing discovery really well sets you up well to do configuration really well, and so on and so forth. And so we want to talk about the key things in each of those steps today and give some examples of ways to help improve implementations.
Awesome. Yeah, good points there. Okay, so let's get started. We all obviously do have to start with one. So discovery is going to be sort of our first phase of these projects. So Twyla, if you could, tell us what the discovery phase of a WMS implementation project typically looks like, and kind of what people should expect if they're thinking about going through an implementation or might be, in the middle of something similar now.
I'm a huge proponent of going on site and seeing your warehouse in person, kind of getting a day in the life of what the boots on the ground are doing. So what your operations are currently today. If you're on a current WMS or if you're using Excel sheets, whatever it is, we will look at receiving, how exactly that's being handled on the floor. Then we'll look at put away. And we'll look at cycle counting, replenishment, picking, packing, and shipping, everything that you're doing in your day-to-day. We want to get an idea of your carriers you're using for shipments. We want to get an idea of how your POs look, your pack slips, everything. So, and that usually takes a day or two on site. And then we have our discovery meetings where we go over these as well and how it will work going forward with your new WMS. So we'll try to keep it as close as possible to your current operations, but give you that, extra boost of using our wonderful WMS and TMS.
Okay, great. So it sounds like there's a lot of information to be gathered during this stage. I'm sure some things could get lost in shuffle, if you've got multiple people working on sort of compiling this. Jeff, what would you say or do you have some recommendations on the best way to compile this information, and sort of what do you do with it once it's been gathered so you can kind of use it down the road?
Yeah, exactly. So, Twyla alluded to doing stuff on site, having meetings. There's also information that the implementation team probably got from the sales team. And so you're getting information from different channels, and then you're learning a bunch of new stuff during discovery. And so one of the really important things to do here is make sure that we'll just call it a requirements document that compiles all of this information in one place. And what that's going to allow you to do is really make sure that us as the team understand really, really well what it is that we're doing. And additionally, we're going to be able to send that back to you and say, hey team, we just spent a few days on site and a couple weeks putting this together. We'd love for you to read through it and make sure that we really hit the nail on the head, so that, again, going back to my point before, when we get into configuration, no one's saying, hey, what about this? We forgot to include this. Or maybe there's a new requirement that, came up a month after discovery, and we want to make sure that that gets into the documentation. So it all goes back to having a source of truth, capturing the information from, multiple different places to really make sure that we feel good about, going forward.
Yeah, I can see how a lot of that could get lost in the shuffle, and it's nice to have sort of one source of truth to go back. When you're further down the road, saying, okay, well, this is what we gathered here. This is why it was configured this way, or this is why we chose to do it this way. Okay, y'all feel free to jump in if you have anything else to add, interject. We've got some questions, that we want to kind of get through, but feel free to interrupt if there's anything else you want to throw in there, Jeff or Twyla. Okay, so I feel like we know what discovery is. We're going to jump into configuration. So once the discovery is complete, Twyla, and it's time for the configuration phase, and this is really when our teams are working to tailor the WMS, right, to fit your specific workflows and goals for a customer. So tell us what happens during this stage so folks know what to expect and have a better understanding of what is happening behind the scenes, because they may not actually be seeing everything that's happening during this time.
So at this stage in your implementation, we're doing this in tandem, by the way, with your discovery. So a lot of these, like you alluded to earlier, Kelly, a lot of these phases kind of work in tandem with each other, in parallel, if you will. So configuration, we need to know what your ERP is. If you're implementing a brand new ERP, we'll work with them as well. We'll need to get access to your system, your ERP system. We'll need to get hooked up to them so that we can configure your system to work in the way that you're wanting it to. Like I said earlier, with trying to keep your operations as similar as possible to today. So that comes along with testing, right? And that's another phase. So, as we work through the process of all these phases, we're configuring at the same time, because you change one little setting and it could change a lot of things down the line. So configuration is a huge part of your implementation.
And what about sort of kind of your communication, with your customer? Are y'all doing, are you having regular meetings with them, or they're, kind of how does that normally look?
Yeah, so we typically have 1 or 2 meetings a week for implementation. A lot of times, people in the warehouse aren't able to make time to come to these meetings, so we'll just do once a week, and then gradually increase that as we get closer to go live. But yeah, we have weekly meetings.
Okay. And Jeff, anything else you want to add there?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially a lot of our WMS customers are, there's some ERPs involved, and the reason for that is that for almost all use cases, the actual transactions, so purchase orders and sales orders, are coming from the ERP, and also all the master data is coming from the ERP. And so whether it's a new ERP or not, there's huge influence there, and there's a certain amount of, WMS project can only be so far ahead of a concurrent ERP project. And so I would say during configuration, there may be some complexity on the ERP side that only the customer is privy to. And it's really important that, customers have somebody who internally is running point on both projects to really make sure that, we're not putting the cart ahead of the horse, because we could be doing work that we will then have to, essentially do again in the future. And so just making sure that you understand that. And when you go into these projects, there's an expectation that, hey, on the internal stakeholder side, we really need to make sure that we are managing both of these projects well, so that our implementation partner knows when to do things and in what order to do them in.
Yeah, I can see how that could be kind of confusing going down the road. so I realized, we're trying to figure out how to configure this system, to best meet your, current situation. But is there a way to sort of balance configuring this for like your today's needs versus planning for the future? Is there maybe some, best practices that you kind of consider or take into account when y'all are setting this up?
Yeah, I mean, there's always it's a hot topic in consulting and software implementations around phasing. A lot of times, there's a lot of things that we want to do, and we have constraints on timeline or budget that we need to meet. And so usually what we want to make sure of is the software that we have can do what we need in the future, but we may not necessarily prioritize, configuring and testing and implementing everything on day one. And it goes back to having, strong leadership internally. Like, there will be a decision that we need to make as we're configuring to say, okay, this is what we're going to do for our implementation. We want to make sure that we're not shortchanging, but we also want to make sure that we're successful when we go live. So we want to understand what could be coming in the future. Maybe a customer is going to go from just shipping small parcel orders to adding LTL. Like, yes, absolutely, we can do that. But if it's not something that we're really doing right away, we're not going to spend resources on the project to get that set up for day one.
Yeah, makes sense.
It all depends on the scope of work too. If they've agreed to implement something that's new to them and it's in the scope of work and we're ready to do that, we'll definitely include it. But yeah, future enhancements are also part of it.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, so moving on to this sort of next phase, we're talking about site prep, which I realize, a lot of this stuff is, happening. You probably needed to gather during discovery, and you probably needed to have certain things, in effect in your warehouse to make, these other, steps worked in the process. But I know site prep may mean, different things to different people. So Jeff, before we kind of get into like the technical things and maybe what's happening in the warehouse, can you sort of tell us a little bit more about it and what the different components are that people might have been, kind of
Yes.
do?
Yeah, for sure. So as I'm sure everyone on this call, all the attendees know, like when you implement a WMS, you're moving physical things, which is not often the case with software. A lot of times software is just doing back office stuff, and you don't have to think about how it's going to change real world physical things. And so having a site that's ready is a deal breaker, is a showstopper for a go live. And oftentimes, we're doing WMS, but it's also our first warehouse. We're also adding racking. We also want to understand how much space we need for picking versus storage, and how big should our dock be. And so that work, again, is sort of like the ERP WMS discussion, where our site's got to be, pretty much done, enough time before the go live to make sure that we're going to be able to do, sufficient testing. And the reality is, like, again, we can't be so super far ahead, because all we're going to be doing is using dummy data and not really working with your warehouse configuration and your bins. And so site prep is one where I'm a big proponent of not waiting until, halfway through the project to say, oh, we didn't, we haven't ordered labels yet, or we haven't figured out how we're going to set up our pick line. And that stuff, we can start having those conversations in parallel with configuration to make sure that, again, everything's ready, so that when we're doing testing, which we're going to talk about next, we're doing real testing.
Okay, Twyla, from your perspective, what are kind of these physical layout changes that companies need to think about before, labeling and hardware before go live?
Well, and I'm going to go back to the discovery again. When we're on site doing your discovery, that's when we can also have some of these conversations, right? So if you're thinking in the back of your mind, hey, I'd like to change some things up, or I want to add a conveyor belt over here, or I don't use zones right now, but I'm kind of thinking I might want to, and how would that look? That's a conversation we can have while we're there on the floor, and we can really visualize and see how it's going to work. Then when we get, to talking about site prep, we can really kind of give you like best practices and an idea of how best to set those things up. So we want to be as efficient as possible, and we want to make sure that your flow of operations work in the manner that they need to. you wouldn't want to put your receiving area, far away from the dock when with racks in the way, just that kind of thing. So, and I'm also a huge advocate of doing a full physical inventory prior to go live, because that is the one thing that's going to mess you up big time, is if your inventory counts aren't accurate. I've seen this time and again. If it's not done, you're going to have issues picking, you're going to have issues with all kinds of things. So that's a big deal too, making sure your counts are in.
A couple questions here, and we've kind of touched on this, that, it's not really too soon to start prepping, but somebody was asking, how far in advance should we start prepping our site for the WMS implementation?
Never too early. Start labeling those bins, start organizing things, start getting your inventory up off the floor if it is, put away, and it's just never too early.
Yeah, and what another reason why it's never too early is that you'd be surprised, and hopefully we're beyond this, but for example, during COVID, there were a lot of things that seemed like things you should be able to get in a couple of weeks, that then all of a sudden it was like 14 weeks to get a handheld device, or even labels and racks and stuff like that. And so sometimes that lead time, becomes a limiting factor. And there's always a timeline goal, and those are unfortunately things that are, outside of really anyone's control. So being ahead of that and thinking through, well, I need to order something and I have no clue how long it's going to take to get, you're better off doing that work up front, so you can have a little bit of peace of mind to say, okay, I know I can get the labels done in 4 weeks, so I need to do it by next month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we all learned a lot of lessons during COVID, right? That we're still, so many best practices were changed and shifted from lessons learned the hard way during that season, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a big one, user acceptance. This is a big one that can really impact the success or outcome. I mean, as can all of these, they're pretty crucial phases, but this can really impact, I think, the success or an outcome of an implementation if not handled properly. So, Twyla, I want to start with you. From your experience, what's the best way to structure this user acceptance testing to build accuracy and confidence in this project and going forward?
Yes, so we use a pretty comprehensive user acceptance testing document that we will track and list different kinds of tests you can do, like kind of a testing script, and then the expected outcome and what the outcome actually is, so that we can track that and go back and forth. And we were talking about configurations earlier. Sometimes in this testing, you won't get the outcome that you expected, so we'll then go tweak a setting and test it again. And this is all just part of the process. I will stress this is a time when it's more of a train the trainer, but it's also crucial to bring someone in who is boots on the ground that can weigh into. I've seen before where we're just dealing with, on a leadership level, with the decision makers doing the user acceptance testing, and then at the last minute someone from the warehouse comes in and they're like, oh, but wait a minute, we don't do it that way, we need it to work this way, and then we have to scramble and make that happen. So it's always good to start from the beginning and have them involved. It's a crucial part.
Yeah, kind of thinking about making sure you've got everyone on board. Jeff, what have you seen? How do you drive adoption among these kind of frontline warehouse staff and set them up for success? Twyla mentioned we want to get everybody involved, but kind of what have you seen that works well?
Well, I think having, especially when it's customers' first time implementing new software, it's our job to set expectations around when you configure software for the first time, don't be surprised if what you see is not exactly what the finished product is going to look like. And so coaching people through that to understand that this is a refinement period, there's going to be some changes, and setting those expectations is important. And then I think making sure that those people understand, when you go down to the warehouse worker level, this has to be working in the way that it's going to go on day one. So let's make sure that we work with this condensed group. We find the right solution. And then only at that point are we bringing everyone else along for the ride so that they have a lot of confidence that the system's going to do what they need it to do when we go live.
And I think that kind of goes along with, one of the questions somebody was asking is how do you motivate warehouse staff, who might be hesitant to adopt a new system? I imagine you want things to go right from the beginning, but, have y'all come across that in your experience?
Oh my goodness. So when customers are implementing a new software in their warehouse for the very first time, it is so fun to see people on the floor when they're using it and they're all excited, and it's like getting a new cell phone, but they see how it's going to make such a big impact in their daily life at work. They get excited and they want to play with it and they want to use it like it's a new toy. So that gives them motivation, especially if by the time it makes it in their hands, we've got all the configurations done, all the testing, and they see it working. That's a huge motivator.
Yeah, seeing is believing, right?
Yep.
Okay, so moving right along, we're getting to the exciting stuff. So we're moving into Go Live. Now, this obviously, is a big one. People are excited, and I know you've both seen some great examples of Go Live situations that went really well as maybe some examples that didn't go so well. So, Twyla, just kind of keeping the conversation going here, what are the most critical things to have in place before pushing the Go Live button, would you say?
We want to make sure that we have thoroughly finished your user acceptance testing. We've gotten a sign-off on proof of concept. We've gotten through every scenario you can possibly think of in that testing. We also want to make sure that people on the floor have trained on it and tried it out. Everyone knows how to use it going forward. We want to make sure that the first order in your production system, we're able to do kind of a dry run through, test orders, whatever have you. But yeah, and like I said, physical inventory counts, that's a crucial part.
And then, so we've kind of, we've got everything kind of in place. We're pushing this, but Jeff, from your perspective, what's like a realistic expectation for day one performance with a new WMS?
Yeah, one of the things that we try to advocate for is getting a little bit ahead on all transactions ahead of go live, and then planning for a reduction in volume for the first few days. That's going to be really helpful. There's certain, again, it goes back to my point about like we're moving physical things. So there's certain physical processes that you're really not going to be able to do a real world, completely 100% accurate test before you actually go live. And so there's always a few things that we want to make sure we have a little bit of buffer time to clean up during the first week. And if we're running at full volume, it just makes that a lot more difficult for everyone. More difficult for the warehouse team because they're stressed, and more difficult for us because we're trying to help you get orders out the door. But then we need to go back in the evening and then make the necessary adjustments so that everything's working well the next day. Again, so having somebody in a leadership role who's able to advocate for the process to say, we should be operating the first day at 25% volume. And for some businesses, maybe that's not possible, but 50% volume, or doing a lot of trying to get ahead on receiving ahead of time, the week before, so that, okay, we can really just focus on nailing the outbound process because we don't have to bring in a lot of inventory the first week, and just giving yourself a little bit of wiggle room where you say, hey, if everything goes great today, everyone's going to go home at lunch, and that lunch, and then everything, you have the buffer to work on things and make sure that you're working forward to being, to being in a better place by the next week.
Yeah, I remember you saying you kind of want to make plans to get ahead the week before, for example, which I think is a really good piece of advice that I hadn't really thought about. I'm thinking, okay, we're just going to start doing orders as normal, but you really want to build in a window to have a little bit of breathing room to kind of tweak and adjust how things go.
Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to add to that, Twyla?
No, I think Jeff kind of summed it up greatly. planning and testing, and it's all key.
What I mean, I guess we talked about sort of like what this day one and this first week is going to look like, but is there a way you can sort of measure success, like say in the first 30 days, or is there a way that you're going, okay, yeah, this is really from your perspective, this is really working, or we kind of need to go back and tweak things? Is there a way that you would sort of tell people to kind of look forward to measure success?
So typically, every warehouse is different, right? Every business is different. Every operation is different. So we've had some customers that they're happy to get 25 orders out the door the first day. And then we've had some that do 125 the first day. It all depends on your staffing resources, your operations, and all the testing you did prior, right? So, success is measured by multiple things. I would say accuracy and efficiency are huge. So, as people learn the system and get more comfortable with it, those are both going to improve. If we're seeing an improvement day over day, that's success.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can tell, you can read the room sort of, if things are going well and based on the feedback that we're getting. Yeah, good point. Okay, so I want to just kind of take a few minutes. We've had a couple questions come in. If anybody, if y'all have any questions you want to submit, please use that Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. Feel free to submit those. But I've got just a couple questions here that I want to circle back to sort of the earlier, phases here. We were talking about discovery. There's a lot of information to gather, but how do you know if you've gathered enough in the discovery phase to move forward?
Well, I think Twyla touched on like the functional areas. So like there are I would say rare instances where there's a type of process, there's a customer who actually is not using a certain warehouse function, but it's very rare. And so by going through all the warehouse functions from receiving all the way through shipping, you can usually be pretty certain that you're going to be covering everything. I will say sometimes what does happen is there's a sales channel that's maybe missed because it wasn't part of the the pre-sales process, and so the team comes in and says, hey, we're doing e-commerce here, and then as part of discovery you learn that there's full truckload wholesale business or there's LTL business, but that's rare to miss, again, because Twyla's point about making sure you go on site, the team is well versed in warehouse operations, so they're going to see a bunch of pallets sitting there and say, hey, I don't think you guys are doing all parcel. Like, let's make sure we talk through that so that we have a workflow for that. And so the team knows how warehouses work, so they'll be able to sift through and say, hey, I think we missed something. But on the customer side, it doesn't help to keep secrets. So it's always good to be open about the different processes and even things that you think are going to go away or are suboptimal. It's important for us to hear about those as well too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, so one kind of fun question here, maybe you've got some examples you can share. I'm going to put you all on the spot. Is there something, has there been a configuration decision, that companies may regret later? I'm wondering if maybe it could be over customizing something, or just anything that, maybe y'all would say something that you've come across that would be kind of a tip of a good do or a good don't.
I would say making a decision about maybe turning off some functionality before you really have a handle on how the system works out of the box from start to finish, soup to nuts, if you will. Because if you turn off specific settings, it could remove functionality that you might want to use. So it's kind of important to use it as is first and then make those tweaks.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally agree with that. Like, we try to use what's already there before going to the next level, and we know that it works because it's in so many different warehouses. And as long as you have the time, like we can go through a workflow that is just out of the box, and then later on decide that we want to make a change. But if we do that first and realize we don't need it, then we've sort of wasted effort on that later on. So yeah, I agree with Twyla on that.
Awesome. Well, this has been a really great conversation. I know we've there are so many, more, kind of tips and tricks y'all could share. These phases are not all going to be, covered in 30 minutes. So I do just want to share a couple, some contact information so folks can reach out. First, Lid is a great partner for ShipHawk. We've done a number of these implementations. They truly are experts. We have a lot of resources on our website. This is one of a document we've got. If you just want to scan this QR code, you can download it. It'll just kind of give you some more information on ShipHawk and Lid and how we work together. And I'll pop up here are, if you have any questions that you want to reach out that we didn't get to today. For ShipHawk, you can email us at learnmore@shiphawk.com. And for any questions for Jeff or Lid, feel free to email. Jeff is brave. He's sharing his own email address here, jeff.hamilton@lid.com. And I'll pop this QR code back up here just if y'all didn't get a chance to scan it. But yeah, thank you all for joining us today. Jeff and Twyla, thanks so much for sharing your experience and, kind of best practices with our audience today. We appreciate it.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Everyone, thanks for listening. Have a good one.
Yeah,
yep, have a good day.
Bye.
Have a great rest of your afternoon.
Bye. Thanks, Kelly.
Bye. Thank you.
अभी हमने ढूंढ मंगाई नहीं है। रात को मैया सवेरे चली जाना, रात को मैया सवेरे चली जाना, अभी हमने जी भर के देखा नहीं है। अभी हमने जी भर के देखा नहीं है। अभी हमने जी भर के देखा नहीं है। थोड़ी थोड़ी जाऊं मैं हलवाई की दुकान पे, थोड़ी थोड़ी जाऊं मैं हलवाई की दुकान पे, अभी हमने भोग मंगाया नहीं है। अभी हमने भोग मंगाया नहीं है। रात को मैया सवेरे चली जाना, रात को मैया सवेरे चली जाना, अभी हमने जी भर के देखा नहीं है। अभी हमने जी